All right, folks, we're starting video 2 of 3. Fortinet. Uh-oh. Funny, Brad. Fortinet needs a bounce ASAP. ASAP. It needs to be above 68, better yet, above 69.5. If not, it's probably going to drift down to 63 and retest the February lows. In February, it had a dip down to 61. You might repeat that if they don't bounce. Fortinet. So do your homework. Not every company in that space has the same opportunity. The chart itself leaves a lot of weak spots, the first of which is this circle right here. That is a weak spot right there. So it might drift into this area if they don't get back above this area. And then if that happens and the market is correcting, those two combinations have to be correct, I think, then you might be able to lose 60 as well. So there's no rush. And if I were to do it, I would do it with, look at that, the technicals were perfect last time. All right, so the bulls have work. GIS. Falling into an area of support. The sad thing is that it's pretty wide, so I can't tell you if it goes to 65 or 63.5. Either way, the whole zone is supportive. So if I'm long and it's too late to panic out, if I wanted to get out, any strength I would get out. This stock chart is not conducive for a lot of upside. Wow, what a mess. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me rephrase the whole thinking. If you believe in the company long term and you miss this rally, this is your chance to, quote, invest in it. One part of two. You enter one part here, and if it falls lower to like 42 or 62, I'm sorry, you enter the second part. Now, if for whatever reason it loses 60, oh my goodness, I don't know how low it goes. 48, 46, 45, I honestly don't know. It has a lot of support in between, but let's not go there. This is an opportunity to get long into a zone that provided a lot of upside, and if somebody wanted to invest in it and missed it, the whole zone is supportive. Unfortunately, it extends $4 below current price. GLD, load up. Just load up everything, because now it's interesting. I'm being facetious. Don't. You missed it. If you're not long gold, if you get into a cab, the cabbie will ask you about gold. That trade is over. And if it's not over, you missed the easy parts. There's not a lot of upside. In the long term, gold was going, but apparently there's a story about China and other countries loading up on gold. So maybe they have a currency war coming. That would be my first step, is to load up on assets that can back up my currency. But having said that, technically this chart is at a target zone, not at a starting point. Anybody that just went long gold on this dip has incredible conviction that I don't understand. We'll see how it happens. So I am long gold and struggling, so I need a drop for me to not lose money. I will have to reassess my trade this week. Sorry, I am short gold. That's what I should have said. By selling a call spread. And I'll deal with it. I didn't even look at it. So I'll deal with it this week. And if need be, I'll roll it up and out. It's not an entry point for me up here. If I'm an investor in gold, just like crypto, you miss the easy money. And I challenge people who just decided that gold is a good thing to buy to flip your investment instinct upside down. When gold is on its back foot and falling, that's when I should be interested in gold, because that's what happens. You end up chasing at the highs and bailing at the lows if you don't. Anyway, this is not an obvious entry point. Short term, you might have support, but if you can't make, let me rephrase. If you cannot get out from 221 on the GLD or 225, it's very easy to slip to 210, and now you become in a seller rally mode. Seasonality or not, I address the chart one tick at a time. Right now, there are a whole bunch of sellers above and not a lot of buyers below. And you need to hold 217. Volume-wise, if you drop below 215, you enter a vacuum until 200. Look left. If you lose this level, there's a vacuum. I'll put a letter V. Okay, until here, support. All right. And there should be sellers in that zone right here. This is what I would do. I'm going to say globally here. This way we can see it on all time frames. All right. HSY. People are not going to eat chocolate anymore. Who said that ever and was correct? Nobody. So this is an obvious entry point. If I'm long, I don't add. If I'm looking to invest in this company for the long term, this is not a bad spot to start. Because if it loses 178, I don't know where it goes. 152, 53. It's not going to do it alone, but goodness, the size of this head and shoulders puts it at 128. So I would not add if I enter here until I'm down at least 15%. Okay? All right. Good entry point from an investment perspective. I would not add. Humana, same comments. They lost a neckline that brought about 112 to 150. We hit target 1 of possible 2, but this is a pretty low spot on the chart. We have the pandemic zone below us. The problem is that it's pretty old and it's not sharp line in the sand. I can tell you 285, 290 should be a solid support zone. So makes it an okay entry for an investor. From a trading perspective, I would not load up. Yeah, I know, Tom. Don't add here. All right, so short term, levels to watch, 332 should be a heck of a resistance zone. See, this S turns into R because they lost it. So now the whole thing is resistance, no longer R. All right. And it's easy to get to 328, but everything above it is going to be R and R plus up here. So it's going to take a miracle to get back to 356 on this one. It's easy to lose and finish. Intel, avoid. Why? It's a loser. What do you mean? It's literally losing. See that? They exceeded my expectations. I was being nice. If I replay, I would probably say this is my target and I'm being nice about it. I think it's going to be in the low 30s. I remember saying those words. So the support is lost. Now it's a problem. Support that we have next extends itself through the low 30s. If AMD is overpriced, this one is too, just by association. This one does not have a lot of hypium. AMD has hypium, that hype I talked about earlier. This one does not have, it didn't enjoy the rally as much as the other ones, and if it did, it gave up a lot more. So not as much hypium to come out of it, but it will go down with the pack. Now this week could be binary. We could have a week open on Monday and then somebody would say, no, we were kidding about the war, whatever, and we may recover solidly and have an all-time high. In that case, this stock will run into a wall at 43. They will need a specific headline about AI to break through anything above 43. So I'm in a sell the rally mode in this one. And if I'm an investor in Intel for the long term, I could nibble, but I would definitely not take half a position. It would be less than half. Because this stock can reward you. It's still a good company. But you need to have a good entry point. So part 1 of 3 maybe would be okay with me. Best to sell puts to own shares. This way you commit to being long at a certain level. And there is another layer that you can do, reach out to be long on the upside as well. INTU flashed, watch out, 600 or lower last week, and it's headed there. So it is also in the sell the rally mode. If they don't get back to 635 or 632, oh my goodness, look at the volume that's above. This rally, look at what's going to face. Look at how much volume there is here. And look at how little volume there is below. So if they lose this low from last week, I think it's a short trip to this zone here, 590, 594. Worth a short on what? This one? Rallies maybe. On a rally, sell a call or call spread. Earnings in 37 days. I know something. So pay attention to this. I looked into the sales and they behave like IWM. Let me see if that's the stock. Yes, the stock chart looks like the IWM. So whatever happens to the small caps happens here. And if the markets are correcting, this one is going down. Because I think the biggest client is small business in America. And we have a 11-year low on small business sentiment this week. Me, who doesn't read news, saw this headline today. So if that's the case, the IWM, which is not quite small business America, but it is tied to it, I think the bears are in charge. You can see it, lower lows and lower highs. It's a matter of hitting a level they like, and the level I like is 595 or lower. Johnson & Johnson. It also popped on my screen as a kind of a deal last week, and you can see why. It just kept on falling. But now it's falling into support from 2023 lows, or at least the first set of support is there. It's also the area that is target, 7.3. Yeah. So this point satisfies losing that, which was a big deal. So this is a better start than an end, as long as they hold 145. You lose 145, whoa, you're going to lose $10 quick. All right, let's go back up in value. You see what I mean? So Johnson & Johnson is part of, wait. I'll put it back on my watch list. It is an entry point for investors. This is a solid bounce area, and below it you will go down to 2020 levels. So they are selling rallies, but I will go long Johnson & Johnson via credit put. Earnings in 2 days. Oh, man. So modifying that statement, I would definitely buy a dip in the earnings, after the earnings. And I could be enticed into selling a put 2 months out before the earnings, half size, to capture some upside. I don't know about buying calls. And if I'm buying shares, I'm buying half of a position. So if it collapses after the earning down to say 120 or lower, I would add the second half. This way I would be long halfway in between those two numbers. So very intriguing, J&J, even with the earnings in a couple of days. I like it. Or if it flushes low before the earnings, I would get long, like I just said. JP Morgan, you saw my note. I'm short and happy. And here are my lines. I did a video on that, and I said in the video on 4/7, I did a video for us on Sunday. I think it was 4/7. Go back and replay it. I just did last night. And I said, what the fudge is that? Can we cuss? I said, can we cuss? What the fudge is that? And then look what happened. How is this not on CNBC? That's what I would like to know. This one, the QQQ, a whole bunch of them I showed you. These previews that they flash and they go straight to them. That it's like a ghost shows up and nobody will, hey, don't worry about the ghost. But the ghost was right there. Yeah, there are no ghosts. Trust me, there are no ghosts. There are ghosts. Look at this. Anyway, the trade is very profitable. This is target 1 of 2, but it is a debit put spread. So I will deal with it this week because if it continues to fall and hold, it's close to the lower end of it. So I might be able to eke out $2 or $3. I will close it probably first thing on Monday, especially if we're opening red, because the risk reward becomes a little wonky. I can reshort rallies. Okay, I don't know what you mean. What's my thesis? No thesis. You see a spike and then it comes to life. So whenever you see it, the lineup of the trade to take you there. My thesis is somebody made a mistake and they dragged the stock down to fix the mistake. Simple as that. I don't know why that happens, but it may cost somebody millions, and that somebody might push the stock down to recover their millions, or they flashed it too soon and then they recover it and then they move it. Either an early mistake flash, or a honest mistake that they drag the stock down to recover their money. Either way, you see how it happens. The 435 on the QQQ was an amazing conversation. What? The whole market corrected on something that flashed a couple of days earlier. Out of the blue, boom, 1 second. And then it goes away. It's not intriguing to you? The thesis is, I saw a ghost. I'm going to go put the camera for whenever the ghost comes up. I want to take another picture. That's the thesis. I just made that up. Okay, who is this? KVH. Yeah, I don't know what happens. All I know is we can make money off of it. And don't tell anyone. There should be a resistance up here. And if so, home builders might end up here. Every time we think that the home builders are gone, they make a higher high. Please respect their bulls. It's an amazing chart, given supposedly an increase in rate and whatever. I think, as an investor, I will have the opportunity to get long this stock $10 lower or more. So I'm patient. If I'm not long, I missed it. Shorter term, I do have resistance and a bunch of support. Like 60 is a bunch of support. If you lose 60, then 59, we can have a conversation about 54, but it's going to be difficult to lose 60 without a headline. And the earnings are not until 66 days. So KMI, it's too high. Look left, mountain of sellers. It looks like a breakout. I think it revisits 1750, to be honest. You can prove me wrong by getting to 1860. So let me rephrase. It's easier to get to 1760 than 1860. So it's easier to come down like this than it is to get up into these wicks. Wait, earnings. 3 days. I'd be made a liar or correct right now. So Lee, I think I went long and it did this and now it did that. Good P&L. If you need an EV, this is a good EV chart to go along with a good EV P&L, if you can trust it. So if I'm an investor in shares, I don't do anything. You might have the opportunity to get long at 25. So I would not do anything up here. If I'm looking to get long, I would be careful. They need to be at 31 and 32 and a half. Otherwise, they can get to 26.50 this week. Earnings, 24 days. So this is support, yes, but it will follow the general market. So this is support zone. They're losing this support, and now this is resistance short term. And this is a trigger higher. So you can see here, there's nothing to do. LULU, can't find a floor. That's because of the way it rallied. And I'm so happy that it is now inside this gap. This stock is on crack. Okay. So if somebody had a credit put spread here, I was helping this chart here. I was helping somebody roll out of a credit put spread they had. And it's buried, so that somebody is able to sell naked puts on LULU. So I said, do the nuclear punt. That's what these lines are. It's not a target. But this white box was important, and now we're inside the middle of it. So if I were to engage myself in LULU, P&L is still outstanding. So I know the business is fine. It's just a stock price action. This rally up to 510 was insane and silly, and this is the byproduct of it. And anything below 330 is an opportunity to get long. So it's on my list of trades, and I will sell puts or put spreads in order to generate income from that. People are hating it now. This is when I instinctively go look for opportunities to go long because it's a good company. See, that's the opposite of gold. I bet you anything, if LULU looked like this, people would be running at me. Hey, can I go long LULU? What do you think of LULU? How about a credit put spread in LULU? I would be saying no, because look left, it's a bad spot. But because it's doing this, very few people come to me about LULU. LUV, I wouldn't touch that industry for any reason. any reason, I'm going to fly this weekend, and I bet you anything I'll have another story that will raise eyebrows. Speaking of raising eyebrows, if it's not at 29, it's probably at 25.5 this week. I'll say it again. If it's not at 29, it's probably at 25.5. They need to be above 28.7. And this is the target zone if they don't get back above here. All right. In fact, I'm being generous. It would be 24.50, but let's look left. All right, there is support one more place. See, I'm being fair, and not a lot of support here. This is a chart. Okay. Okay. Las Vegas. Okay, I don't remember which. Okay, the last time we looked at it, I had scribbles in green. I said rallies will run into resistance. They exceeded my expectation. They ran into resistance, but they plowed through to higher resistance, which I didn't expect. I thought that this candle would stop them. They waited for this candle, and now they're back to base. So I repeat my comments. My R comment stands where it is. So I think the next rally has the opportunity to fail at 53. If not, take out 54.50 and they're gone. Okay, so now I'm saying, is this channel in jeopardy of lower lows and lower highs? How do you establish that? If you lose 49.80, then you're going to finish this green thing. So this green thing, so I'm saying that this kink right there went too far up, and it's still alive. So there's still support, but if you lose it, you're going to end up at 47. Earnings in 3 days. So it's a gamble. It could go either way. I honestly don't know. Mara, I warned everybody at the tops that I would not get in touch. In fact, I'm curious. Hopefully somebody asked for MSTR. Yes. Okay. So Mara is a Bitcoin thing, and it's acting worse than Bitcoin. So rallies, I would sell Mara because they lost support. So it needs to be at 20 or higher to make me a liar. You do have support from back here. So you do have last ditch effort support. And if you lose it, there's a lot of resistance here. And you do this, you're going to do that. So what am I saying? They're selling rallies, and I don't think the support will hold. If you got long Mara at 25, if you got long at 30, I'm not very happy with you. But if you got long, I would not add. You might be able to fix your position if you're confident, if you're patient. You might even get it single digits. And if so, then pile into the single digits, then your entry point will be somewhere around this area, which wouldn't be so bad in the long term if you know what you're doing with the stock. MBLY. I personally do not engage with companies to engage with Bitcoin. I use Bitcoin. So MBLY, if they lose their, wasn't there a buyout with this company? What happened? Maybe not. So 30. Don't lose 30. It is support, and if you lose it, next level of support is down here. And you have a lot of resistance up here and earnings in 11 days. So if you take out 34, you make a lot of progress. So now ping pong inside this zone. We can add, this is stating the obvious. The P&L is okay. I mean, it's nothing crazy. Meta. So let's see. I would not short Meta in principle because it has a huge upside potential that nobody can quantify because we don't know what the heck it is. And on top of it, it's there is the short-term money that they make. It's a money printing machine. Look at the P&L. How can you short it? Current levels are great, and the future is the limit. The sky's the limit. Now, it will crash badly with a market crash, but we're not calling a market crash. But I said, I stand by my comments that it's easy for it to curl back down, but I wouldn't short it. So for me, it's a no touch because I missed it. It's too high to chase and it's too hot to short. That is the picture perfect statement. I mean, a chart for that statement. TH. It's way too high for me to chase it, and it's way too hot for me to short it. If I short this one and I make money, I would have made just as much money shorting the markets all by themselves. So why would I want to pick on it? 10 days earnings. Yep. Relatively strong. Meta has been relatively strong for a year probably, ever since they took off. All right, so who is this? Market Access Holdings. Yeah, I don't know what that is. You do have support. If you lose 200, you go to 165. Until then, I don't know what happened here. So you have resistance at 235 and higher. So make sure you know the difference between investing and trading in this one. Let's see here. They reported, or something happened here. We put a box around this crazy candle. That box is still your thing. Let's see here. 411 2-hour candle wild. Okay, that's what it was. So you're still inside that wild candle. They gave you limits on the upper hand and the lower hand. So look at how clean cut that 74 resistance line is. It's just amazing. So that line is your trigger higher and your problem. 72.5 is also a problem. And if you lose 68.50, I'm rounding, you'll probably end up losing another $2, where it would make a much better entry. So I'm going to put an alert down here to, I would try longs if they approach 65, and I would stop out if they lose 63 and retry longs down inside this box. So that's my trade on that one. Good P&L. It's okay P&L. It's not awesome. A lot of sellers above and a bunch of buyers below. If I'm already long, there's nothing to do. MSTR. Now, I want to invite you to go look. If you think you know what you're doing with MSTR, the market makers don't know what they're doing. You know why? Because they're asking for $1 billion basically if you want to buy or sell options throughout the year, even at 1/3 of the price of where it is right now, or twice and 3 times the price of it is right now. The option premiums are huge. And that is a statement, tradable statement, which means have no conviction in this company. I know the guy is charismatic and they sound like they know absolutely what they're doing, and they do. It's no reason to jump in all in the stock and keep averaging down from up here. If you know how to sell options, that's the easiest way to trade this guy. This is not a P&L story, it's a balance sheet story. Good company, good leadership, completely dependent on the price of something they don't control, just like Chevron and Exxon. And if you lose 1366, you're probably going to lose 1100. You do have supports in between. And I think they will not be able to break through 1700 this year. But it's too early to call it. So resistance at 1600, 1670, and 1750. Hopefully you wrote down those levels. Actionable level is you need to hold 1365, 66, 65, 60. Otherwise, you're probably going to get down quickly. And if you look left, there's no volume support until it gets cut in half, if not more. Micron. Die, Micron, die. Okay. I think Micron needs to be in the 106 this year. Hopefully it does it soon before I lose money on it. All right, so I'm holding a bearish position and it's red, but I'm holding it a little bit longer. I think Hypium is pretty extreme in this stock. I could be wrong, but until I'm proven wrong, I will try to short it very gently. I own a put. I could add a sold put, a sold call, or a call spread, but I haven't done that yet. So I have not added. It's a small position. I want to see what happens next. Kind of like JP Morgan. It was red, 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 and I had enough conviction for a reason. So let's see if it plays out in my favor here. If I'm short, I wouldn't add. If I wanted to short it, it's proven itself pretty resilient. So yeah, you can. You buy a put spread. Netflix has earnings in 4 days, so I don't know what we're discussing here. I think it's easier to get to 550 than it is to break into new all-time high. Having said that, the earnings could be surprising. The CEO may have convinced Wall Street to not look at the number of people he signs up, but rather his financials. So if he shows sales growth and profitability, maybe they'll react positively. It's all about expectations. I honestly don't know what people expect from it. Technically, it's easier to fall than the rally. But the breakout above 640 is so close that you can't short it with confidence, because if they break out of 640, a new leg higher, they'll probably target 690 pretty quickly. And it's right in the middle of the range almost. So plenty of support below, but they might retest that support. Like it's very easy to see it inside that bracket, for example. Okay. And this is not a short trade idea. Like, I would not short it. Nugget, gold. Yeah, I would not be long Nugget. Gold miners, it's even worse. So this is basically GDX on crack. Is that what that is? Okay. Look left, huge pile of sellers. So if I'm happy about the gold rally, I would trade GLD, not GDX. Why? GDX is a bunch of stocks. So Nugget, by extension, is a bunch of stocks, right? So it's not about the asset price, but it's about the stock market and all stocks. So for a little bit, gold stocks will rally with the asset price. But then if the stock market corrects and gold continues to rally, gold miners, in my experience, curl with the market and fall. So maybe the better entry in this guy is below 34. So if I'm not long, I would wait until it's in 34s or below 35. NVIDIA, look at this. Last week, the market owes NVIDIA a big thank you. That top hat they did was temporary until Apple got its act together. And they needed it to do that. So I'll give you the numbers on NVIDIA. Write them down. 208, give or take a couple of bucks. 893, 857, 850, and 830. Okay? On the upside, if we go above 910 and make higher high than last week, 937 is the biggest line to watch. 920, yeah, but 937 is the biggest line to watch. All right, so if the market has a hiccup, NVIDIA would lose 800 in the next couple of weeks if the market has a hiccup. All by itself, it shouldn't go there. So now you have a big buyer above, a below, and a big seller above, and it's stuck in the middle. So it goes with the flow is what it does. This is the market, okay, since last year. NVO. By the way, NVIDIA, it's been a year since its super spike. All right, so you see that little wick down? They might want to revisit it, unless they said this is a bottom and let's go up. So it's an intriguing stock right here. This may have said this is the bottom and it's in. But if you lose it, you're going to 119. But there's also something to be said that look how close the trigger is to go to here. And look how many buyers there are down below here. So if the market is stable this week, this guy may have the opportunity to curl and maybe is bottoming. Okay, so not an exit point. If you twist my arm, I will sell a put spread, buy some call spreads or something. I would bet up. What is this? Is this a diet drug company? Yeah, maybe that theory is gone. HSY. Good comment there. So on semi, it's a good company. It makes for a good starting position in on, but given the money, given the market is teetering on, should I correct? Should I not correct? Why is this one down in the toilet? P&L is good. Something is up with it, right? So if I'm long, I don't add, and I just manage the risk I have. If I'm not long, I could nibble half of a position, and if it loses 62 or 61, you might end up in the middle of the 50s, which is why I'd say I would take half of a position, and I wouldn't add until it goes into the mid 50s or lower. Yeah, I don't know why it's down here. Somebody needs to look into it. The P&L looks solid. Oxy. So I would sell Oxy to buy on semi is what I would do. Oh my goodness. Yeah. No, not for me. But Warren Buffett. Yeah, Warren Buffett is anyway. No comment. Technically, this chart, if I look left, this here is not an obvious entry point, even if it goes to 75. I'm pushing my luck. How about I say it differently? I bet you it'll be in 64 in the next couple of months. So if I'm looking to get long, why wouldn't I wait a little bit? Okay, $5 on a base of 69, that's quite a bit. But if you can't stop yourself, then take a small bite. Take a small position. Palo Alto Networks. And and by the way, on oil stocks, I have a side note on oil stocks. Wait, on oil stocks. If you think that oil prices are going to skyrocket because of whatever you believe is going on in the Middle East, and you buy into that, I bet you all stocks will correct hard, including this one, while oil rallies. Because if we actually do have a war, and that it may involve the U.S. in any way, shape, or form, or get really ugly, uglier than it already is, you think the stock market is not going to correct? And if you do think it's going to correct, Oxy will go with it. It will not go with the stock, with the price of oil. Same with gold. The same comment I made on gold, it extends here. So what am I saying? Oxy is not an obvious point of entry. And if you want easy wins, the Oxy chart is not saying that. This one is doing exactly what we said it did. It traced this green line. So now you must at all cost avoid losing 260, which has been here for a bit, and I keep moving it. And now you have a lot of resistance. So the opportunity for the bulls starts by taking out a higher high from last week, and then you have to take out 295. If not, you're at risk of losing 260, and if you do, good grief, we're going much lower in this thing. Okay? So good opportunity to go long against the 264, 260 support, but it better hold. So if I'm long, I'm not adding. If I want to get long, I would use the situation to get long to take that into consideration. And this is the end of video 2, so let's switch to video 3.